Listen, alcohol is just out in 2024. There is a rising trend of going alcohol-free or being sober curious, and alcohol, the truth is, it's just bad for you and can famously impair your sex life. So if you're looking for another way to unwind, relax, or just have fun, I cannot recommend Via's THC gummies enough. Via has gummies for every occasion. Whether it's to improve your sleep, I love their sleep gummies. I take them everywhere. Your mood or your focus. They even have an aphrodisiac gummy called High Love to boost my arousal levels. High Love has a unique blend of cannabinoids and aphrodisiac exotic herbs that are known for their libido enhancing effects. So I've been using Via for a while now, and I absolutely love them. They're a super trusted company. They use premium hemp, natural ingredients, and they're known for their premium indoor THCA flower. All their products are made here in the US. They got quick and discreet shipping to all 50 states, so you can all enjoy them, not to worry. And also super affordable. So head over to viahemp.com and use code Emily at checkout to save 15% off your order. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Use code Emily at checkout for 15% off your order, and let me know what you think. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode of Sex with Emily. Tonight we're talking about how social media is changing the way we date, mate, and relate. Is it making it easier or harder to be in a relationship? Are we the generation of validation on tonight's show? Also, I want to thank everyone for supporting my show, and as you know, I love to keep it free for you, so thank you for supporting my sponsors. I am obsessed with my No Pro. I've spent so much time and money on razors and waxing and getting rid of all of this hair. And you know what? No Pro is the best way to remove unwanted hair, and there's no pain. You can do it at home. I do it when I'm watching TV. No one even has to know. Oh, it's for men too. Whether it's your legs or your arm or your face, you know, guys get the hair on the back and stuff like that. You might want to get rid of it. You will love how easy this is to use and the weeks of long-lasting results. You don't have to think about it. No Pro comes with a 100% 60-day money-back guarantee. And when you purchase it, you'll get a $50 gift card to an award-winning skincare line. Go to nonoemily.com. That's nonoemily.com.
Look into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Hey, Emily. You got a boyfriend? Because my man E here, he just got his heart broken. He thinks you're kind of cute.
A girl's got to have her standards. Oh, my.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
What do you mean, like laundry? It shrinks?
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God, it feels so good.
Being bad feels pretty good. But you know, Emily's not the kind of girl you just play with.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. We're talking about sex, relationships, and everything in between. For more information, go to sexwithemily.com, where you can check out all of our podcasts, sign up for our mailing list. Have you not signed up for my mailing list yet? And you're actually a listener? I don't understand. Because my mailing list, first of all, if you sign up, you get the 5 biggest mistakes you're making in bed if you're a man or a woman. Plus, I send you emails just like once a week, and they're actually informative and helpful. And people always say, oh, I love your emails. And who says they love your emails, right? Who likes emails? So check it out. And also subscribe to my podcast on iTunes, because then you never miss a show. There's 2 a week. They're awesome. And one more request for you all is that I would just love when next time you're on iTunes, if you might want to give us a review. Tell us what you think of the show, right? I'm here with Anderson.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice when people review? A few
it's
years
nice
ago,
to get feedback. Yeah.
I know, but we charged for the show. Like, remember when I was like, been trying to make a living at this for a long time.
I never knew you when you were whoring yourself out. You've always been free when I've known you.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did a little stint, and then there was some, I just noted there was angry people who were like, why are you charging? But we're not doing it anymore. So if you're enjoying
it's
the show.
It's worth it. It's worth $5 an episode from the stuff that you learn about the bedroom.
I know, honey. How much have you learned?
Quite a bit. My wife's kind of happy.
Have
I don't
you
tell
really,
you what I learn or what I use, but I learn stuff.
Like, really? Like, you take stuff home?
I've learned a few things.
What? Tell me one.
I've learned a couple things.
Give me one.
You know what? I don't want to.
Oh, Anderson, you're so
Makes me uncomfortable.
Well,
and
I'm
she'd
happy
be
to
furious.
see. I'm happy to. Okay, fine. But your wife loves me.
But she does. She likes you quite a bit, yes.
Okay, well, Anderson, it's good to see you. Welcome back.
It's good to see you, Ems. Thanks.
And I'm excited. My guest tonight is Annie Daly. Annie is a freelance writer. And she's actually awesome. She lives in Manhattan, and she's a freelance writer. She writes for a bunch of magazines. I'm sure you've seen her name. She writes for New York Post, Women's Health, Self, Elle, Shape, Health, Men, Time Out New York, and primarily covers sex, dating, relationships, health, wellness, diet, fitness, and millennial trends. And I actually met Annie when... Hi, Annie.
Hey.
I'm so glad you're here.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
You look so pretty and tan and healthy. And
Well, I've been raging the California life for about a week now.
wow, really?
Yeah.
Isn't it great here?
I'm obsessed.
Are you moving?
I want to.
Okay.
At some point.
Okay, good.
I'm about to turn 30, and I feel like maybe that decade will be the decade of change.
I think it should be. The 30s are
Potentially.
good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Annie and I met originally when you were at Cosmo, right?
Correct.
It was like a year. You called me like for quotes or something initially?
Yeah, I think it's because actually I listened to your show.
Oh, okay.
And
I love
then
that.
and then I wanted to interview you because you were so great, and so I just called you. And let me tell everybody out there, by the way, just quick little PR thing for Emily. She is the best expert ever because she's so smart and she's so real, and you just get it. A lot of experts don't get it, you know?
Do they like send you like quotes?
They're like sometimes creepy. Like people, no, it's true.
Right.
People who have PhDs in sex, which by the way exists,
Right.
as you know.
I have a doctorate in human sexuality, right. But they're
Yeah.
more like technical and
A little, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and they're old. A lot of them are like in their 70s. It's
Right.
like these men who are so smart, but they don't exactly have their hand on the pulse,
finger,
you know?
exactly. Like we do.
Oh, yeah.
Annie does for sure. She writes amazing stuff. You got to check out. And you're on Twitter. You're at Annie M. Daly.
Correct.
DALY. And this will all be on the website.
And on
You can check it out.
Instagram, too.
And
Same
on
name.
Instagram, Annie M. Daly.
Yep.
And I love your stories. And the New York Post has been big for you lately. I've been
So big.
some of those things. I mean, that's amazing.
Thanks. And you're a huge star in most of those stories.
I know. I love it. I'm like, great.
That was-
well, it's funny because my intern Madison today was reading stuff, and she's reading our story. She's like, and I love that. Oh, the premature escalation thing.
We need to talk about that.
Can we talk about that? And she
Let's
was like,
talk about
that was
that.
so great. That was so great. I'm like, that was my quote. But we
It
can
was
talk about
totally
it.
your quote.
Right. Well, it was an article about do we connect too much? Okay, because tonight's show, as I said earlier, is we're going to be talking all about how is online dating, how is just everything, the internet, social media, how is it affecting your relationship, your ability to date? People are cheating more, they're breaking up, they're spying, they're snooping. I mean, it's also bringing people together. There's lots of good things, but it's completely changing the way we live and function in this world. And we just have some interesting stats and tips about dating. But first, this article was about how it's an interesting point about how before we date, if we meet someone online, I think was the article about, tell me, it was about like, do we talk too much ahead of time? Do we get to like,
It was basically about when you meet someone online, right? And then you exchange info. And what happens is you start texting and emailing before you even meet the person. And that's what the article was about, because you can go on these huge, long texting spurts without even ever having met them.
Right.
And it's bizarre because it's like basically the entire context of a first date happens over text.
Right.
And the reason I got the idea for this article is that happened to me. This guy that I met on OkCupid, he seemed cute and normal. And then he started texting me these questions, like first date questions, like, so what's your relationship with your siblings? You know? And he's like, going on any vacations lately? And I'm like, this is just so super weird.
Right.
I don't even know if you're cool.
exactly. Like, why am I going to waste my, were you answering him? And,
Well, so eventually I was actually pretty blunt. And I said, listen, I think you're cool and your pictures look pretty cool, but I think that you should save the first date questions for the first date.
good for
I
you.
actually said that.
That's good. And then did you like him on the date?
Originally, yes, but then he turned out to be super lame, and he actually ghosted me.
What does that mean?
Ooh, do I get to introduce a term right now?
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
guys
this
know?
is huge.
Ghosted. What?
Okay, so ghosting is when a guy just all of a sudden never contacts
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
again.
Disappears.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's ghosting.
It's ghosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's a
didn't know it was
Cosmo
called
term.
that. It is a Cosmo term. You're
Oh,
right.
yeah.
How do I not know that? He just disappeared. But the
don't know.
premise of the article was like, we were like, why, when you meet someone online and you make a connection, you make plans for a date, save it for the date. You shouldn't have
Right.
too many textings back and forth. That I said to her during the interview, I'm like, it's like we're all prematurely escalating. It's like a premature escalation of the date before it even happens.
Right, and then I think you also compared it to a microwave. It's like when you put a potato in the microwave and all of a sudden it boils in 30 seconds and then it just pops. And
Right.
that's what happens when you text too much before you meet the person.
Right.
It's just like go, 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 go. Everything happens quickly, and then it ends just as quickly as it began.
Exactly.
Boom.
And then we create the problem with it too. And this is my
it's
advice for people
horrible.
dating online is that you create this whole thing in your mind like he's a really funny texter, he's really interested, it's great, we have such a connection, and then you walk in and within 2 seconds you're like, or whatever, or maybe after a minute you're like, I'm not that into him, but I spent all this energy getting to know. You might as well just wait till the date And I don't think you should become Facebook friends beforehand. Like, don't follow on Instagram. Although some guys have asked me to become Facebook friends ahead of time. And I just
Really?
say no. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you should not do that.
No, don't escalate it before you meet them.
Because you know what else sometimes happens? Is they become so boring when you actually meet them that you wish you were texting with them. You wish, I do that sometimes.
I do
It's like
too.
when I meet someone, I love their texting style and I don't really like their IRL style. So it's like, I just kind of want them to go away so I can text with them.
Exactly. No,
It's horrible.
I was in a relationship for 2 years like that. And like, he was an amazing
how is this
texter.
happening?
And we were together and he was like reading books the whole time. So boring. And I'm like,
Yeah.
let's go. Like, I'm going to go in the next room and just text me something funny. And then there was like a stat. We have all these great
Oh, my
stats
God.
online. And it said something like about how men are, I'll get to it in a second, but like some percentage of men say that social media obviously is making them, 80% of women, this was from ABC News. It says that social media leads to faster sex. Men and women say communicating via social networking, instant messaging, texting leads them to the bedroom faster. So not necessarily before the date, but just even if it's after the first date. 80% of women say relationships lead to sex more quickly because it's so easy to stay connected. 58% of the men surveyed said flirting over Facebook texts and GChat helps them get women into the sack sooner. So it's all about the words because the brain, we love a clever guy.
Oh, yeah. It's not even about the words, though. It's about the likes and the pokes and everything.
Oh,
That's
right, especially the pokes.
No.
Right, I know what you
Pokes
mean.
are kind of old school.
Right, they
I
are
can't
old
believe
school.
I just said that.
No, I get it.
What I really
People
mean is
still
the
poke
likes.
me, though. I'm like, really? How did you
Really?
even find the poke button? It's gone.
Pokes you, man.
Random people. But
Okay.
yeah, it is all about the likes and it's all of that. It's we want affirmation. We want to feel good. What is this?
And I would also say it's a little bit lazy on the dude's part, just because it's like they want you to know that they're thinking about you, but they don't want to go to too much effort to let you know that. And so
Right.
it's just this little thing where it's like they want to keep you in their back pocket, just kind of keep you on one of their many burners.
because
And just
now,
like throw you a little like, and you get excited for a brief moment in time, and you're like, ooh, maybe that means something.
right, and then we analyze what did the like mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a photo of me, whatever. Did he mean like? Do you think he really meant to like me? You know, it's like we analyze everything. It's like it's a goddamn
yeah.
like. And I also think like texting was invented. I used to say for guys, but it's for men and women too. Because think about like the booty call before texting. It was like you'd call one person, you'd wait. But now like a guy can, or a woman, I've done it. You can text 5 people, like whoever shows up first, or who has plans
Yeah.
tonight, and you just keep like texting and going, and we're all connected in a way that But do you think it's healthy, unhealthy?
I think that as with most things, it goes both ways. And it's like, I think that it's healthy if you use it right. And the whole thing for me is that you have to accept it and not resist it. Because I think it's when you try to resist it so much that it becomes unhealthy, because then it backfires. And if you just kind of accept it as something that is just part of life, and you treat an Instagram like as something that does matter to your relationship instead of just dismissing it as like, oh, that's social media, it doesn't matter.
Right. Because a lot of
it
people are like,
does.
it does matter. Like it's everything.
Right.
It is really, it's how I run my business and
Yeah,
connect with
it
friends.
matters.
It's everything. It does matter.
And so, yeah, I think that it's really important to realize that.
Yeah, I guess it does matter. So we also talked about, it matters, but it's also like,
does.
I know. And so what about this, okay, so there's all these studies I have here, but tell me about we'll go to this in a minute, but your most recent article that just came out in Elle online.
Oh, yeah.
And generation validation.
Yeah.
I love it. So tell me about your article.
Okay, so this article, it was actually inspired by a friend of mine who said that one time she got dressed for a wedding, and she went out the door and she thought that she looked so good. She had gotten a blowout, had on really nice makeup, like loved her dress. She gets to the wedding and she didn't get a compliment right away. And she just kind of, all of a sudden, she just assumed that her outfit was terrible because somebody hadn't told her that it was awesome.
Right.
Even though she thought that it was awesome on her way out the door. So I started thinking about that, and I was like, you know what? There's something to be said for that. I think that our generation, everything that's happening on social media and online, it's seeping into our real lives. And we're so used to getting all of these likes online.
Right.
Especially the key thing is that a lot of the likes that we get, they don't really matter.
Right.
It's like you
'Cause we
can
don't know
post a
them or-
picture of a cupcake. And I said this in the article. It's like people will post a picture of a cupcake. It's terribly photographed. It's bad lighting. The frosting is like all like melty and gross. It's in no way a good photograph, let alone a cool creative thing to post. And it'll get 100 likes. So what does that mean? It's like
I think does it mean they like the person? So they're like, oh, I'm just
it's
I
like an
connect
obligatory like. It's stupid.
It is stupid.
And so what the experts say is that then dilutes the value of the like, which basically means that when the value of the like is diluted, it means that everybody then expects them for everything. And so then when you are translating that to real life, it's like you're not just waiting around for something to actually matter to get liked. You expect everything that you do to be liked.
Right. I do.
So, yeah.
I posted a picture on Facebook. I'm like, God, I thought I'd get a lot more likes on that. Like it kind of, I'm like, should I take it down?
I know.
Usually
but
I get 100. I got 10. It was probably lame. Maybe I look ugly,
But here's the trick. Do you want to hear a trick?
Yes.
Okay. And this is
Call
actually...
my friends and tell them to like it so I feel better? No.
No. It comes from within. This is about to sound
I love
pretty
myself.
heady.
No, I like it.
Yeah. So it's like basically if you post a picture and then you picture yourself in 5 minutes going back to check to see how many people liked it, then if you ask yourself if you need to do that to feel good, if you don't need to do that, if you can like picture posting the picture and not looking back at it for about an hour or two and not caring, then
I'm healthy.
You should post it and then you're healthy. And if you picture yourself needing to go back to see how many people liked it right away, then it's unhealthy and you're seeking validation from other people rather than from yourself.
Which most people do anyway.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I was texting with a guy friend last night who just broke up with this girl who I told him was cheating on him. I could just tell. He's like, well, she's got an ex-boyfriend and they're working together in the same town right now, but she says, that they're just friends. I'm like, and whatever. She'll tell me ahead of time if they sleep together. And I'm like, they're sleeping together. Okay, I'm telling you she's sleeping with him because she was kind of seeing both of them.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I get this
Of course.
desperate call from him last night. He's like, she told me you were so right. She's sleeping with him. Like she's out of town for like 6 weeks doing stuff for work. I said, yeah, I told you that. He said, well, why? Well, this is all through we talked and then we texted. He says, well, why? How could someone do that? Why do women need to? I'm like, well, everyone does it. I said, He said, is it because she needs validation? I said, actually. And this is even besides social media, I think so many of us, women and men who are challenged with low self-esteem, and we keep looking for other people. Maybe she's sleeping around or wants all the attention. She's also like in the entertainment industry, whatever. But when we constantly are trying to get affirmation from the outside, it just means that we're trying to fill ourselves up. But we're like, it's like an empty hole because until we love ourselves, I could get 5 million likes on something, but it'll still make me feel, it won't fill me up. It's not real. It's not until you love yourself. And I was saying,
exactly.
She clearly has some insecurities and because of other things he told me and people do it for a lot of reasons. But yeah, she's probably with this guy. He's telling her she's beautiful. She feels good and she likes the attention from men and who doesn't? But at what point do you stop and you're like, I love myself. It doesn't matter. Because kind of what we're saying is it shouldn't matter what other people think.
Right.
But this whole social media thing is all about, I care if I get retweets and stuff because it helps
of course.
get more followers and more whatever. It matters, but then it just seems so, this wasn't existing. We weren't having this conversation years ago, and now it runs the world.
I think that the big thing that we all have to do is you just have to stop and pause a little bit more. And I think that's the big piece of advice is that everything is happening faster. Everything is happening more quickly. So it's really easy to just go and just not stop and think about what you actually think.
Right.
And so if you do that just a little bit more frequently, and that sounds so therapist-y,
no,
which is
I get
stupid,
it.
but
I
it's just stop
away.
and check in with yourself, which again, I kind of sound like one of those creepy 70-year-old men.
No, but it's true.
It's so true.
You got to stop. You got to turn your phone off.
You really have to.
Yeah. How about on dates and stuff? So what about all this everybody on dates who are using their phones or in relate? Let's not even say dates because dates I think most people know. At least on the first date, I just go to the bathroom if I want to check the phone.
Oh yeah.
But no, we put it away. I hope so.
Wait. Side note to that real quick.
Yeah.
I one time got a compliment on a date for not bringing my not bringing my phone to the bathroom because he was like, you're the first girl who hasn't brought her phone to the bathroom. And I know what you guys are doing in there.
They know?
They know.
Oh my God. Or they run to the bathroom and I'm checking. I'm like, I hope they don't come back.
No, they know. Because I was complimented on the fact that I left it on the table.
Hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Did you consciously leave it on the table?
I did, actually, because I could see him. He was, watching me. And I was about to grab it because, of course, I wanted to check Instagram.
Right.
Duh.
It's like
And I
overcoming
didn't.
that urge.
Oh, I know. And I didn't.
And you got affirmed. You got
Yeah.
complimented. It's
Yeah.
true. No, it's
So, ladies, don't bring your phone
oh
to the
my
bathroom.
God. I just did it on a date the other night, but I didn't really like the guy. But still, I can't help it.
You knew what you were doing on
He
the
knew
toilet.
what I was doing. I know. I literally was texting my best friend from the bathroom because I'm going to see her. I'm going to Chicago tomorrow, and I had to text her something about my flight. I'm like, I'm in the bathroom on a blind date texting you right now. And she's like, oh my God, you're hilarious.
I bet that you've responded to some of my interview emails in the
Oh,
bathroom on
probably.
dates.
I probably am like, Annie, I got to go. But here's the thing. Here's what we're talking about. I think there's another thing here. God, we have so many things about how so when it says like this is from like Time Magazine or something. When does our obsession with our phones, our apps, and our social media presence become like a fungal rot on our real life social presence, which is kind of like what you're talking about. Like, is it? And is it? Are you? There's other stats that say like the percentage of people who've checked their phone during sex, or it's just impacting.
Yeah, that's a pretty high number, as I recall.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
not
not
during
done
oral
that,
sex.
but-
No, like I had to go. He was performing oral sex on me.
amazing.
No, it was funny because I was like, wait, if it's Lauren, I got to check because my assistant, I'm like, because we got to get this newsletter out. I'm just looking for the last, I just got to check real quickly. I did.
Where did that relationship go? Let me just turn the tables on you for a second.
We still sometimes see each other. He
That's
gets me, but
awesome.
I don't want to be that. But and I read that. I'm like, who does that in bed? I'm like, does oral sex count? Okay, I did it during oral sex because my phone was right next to me and I was trying to get a newsletter. Anyway, it's stupid, but we
Yeah,
should
well,
just
and you have good
turn
vision in that point, so,
Right, I've got good vision. Right?
Yeah.
I'm really clear. I'm going to proof it now. Do you mind if I proof this? But that get couples too at night. It's taking away the intimacy in the bedroom. Couples are on their phones. Like I know that I'm like reading things on my phone at night, and I know it's like studies say also like it's not good for you for your brain waves to be reading to looking at your phone before you go to bed, and you should like read a book or meditate.
Oh, yeah, it has the blue light. It makes you not sleep if you look at it for an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
But
I like sleep with it on my pillow.
yeah,
Well,
I know.
charging. Do you? Does
Yeah,
everyone?
under my pillow.
Yeah, under my. Well,
Are
under my
we
pillow
weird?
sometimes- Yeah.
I think we have a lot of similarities.
Well, it's embarrassing because my charger goes like right, and then I put it under my pillow so
Yep.
it won't fall off the bed. But I literally
Yeah, and
roll
then you have
over.
easy access,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then I cuddle it. It's like no, I don't cuddle my phone, but I could. And I'm always looking for it because I'm always like, it's just we're so attached, and I do think that it's affecting our relationship. So I think that it's also a rise of narcissism.
Yes.
And it's a rise of like, you think about it like when you're on FaceTime, it's like, are you looking at yourself? Are you looking at the person? Like, everything that we do is trying to get these like affirmations and stuff. And I think
I know.
not
And
that narcissism didn't exist before.
But it is definitely magnified now. And I think that my whole thinking about that is that you really just need to find someone who's compatible with your social media style, as stupid as that sounds.
Exactly.
But it's like there are some guys who are just completely not on it at all.
Right.
And there are others who are. And if you are self-aware enough to know that you are one of those people who's always on it, then it makes sense to partner yourself with someone who is too, because then
Right.
you'll get each other more.
But maybe,
And it's-
right, but what if you're with someone, like I know a guy I was dating when I first moved to LA, it drove him crazy. He's like, just don't look. And that bothered me that he was monitoring me, like, don't check
Right.
it, don't check it. But in a way, it's healthier not to. Like I was hanging out with him watching a movie, like what did it matter on Saturday night when my phone was like, why couldn't I turn it off? But
know.
I also like they've dated guys who's like, I get it, baby, check your phone, it's cool, like do it, But it's I do think that a lot of relationships have been ruined and affected by social media and by certain people's like addiction to their phone and being more into their phone or their laptop than they are to their partner. Like my friend says her boyfriend, they're in a long distance relationship, and now of course like 6 months in or 7 months in, she's like, yeah, and then he's on the iPad all weekend, and it's like, or it's in the bedroom, or it's so I don't know. I guess before that maybe we were watching TV, but it's just become more and more. You're just connected with everyone, and I don't know how healthy it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth on the issue. I really, really do. And I think so much of it depends on who you're dating at the time. And,
You're right.
And it really does because, if you're with someone who understands and who gets it and won't be monitoring you, then it's fine because you both know your limits. And that really gets back to just accepting social media as a part of life.
Right.
Which is what I really have just come to conclude with
Right.
all of this stuff is that you can't ignore it. And it's like it's real. It's here and
Right.
it's
It's not going
an
anywhere.
extension. People used to say that it was like you're a different self. It's kind of the same self,
And And
that's what you really need to focus on.
That it's how is it the same self though? Because what if you're projecting you want to project something that isn't really, is it really the same you, or are you like only posting you in certain light? You're not like when you're crying on your bed and depressed.
Oh, I know.
It's like when you're out with your girlfriends having a good time, but like people always be like, you're always out. I'm like, I never go out. I'm like, because you see me on Instagram, or that's another weird thing that when you talk to people, they're like, God, it seems like your work is taken off or you're so busy. And I'm like, I've been home the last 3 nights work, but but social media, if they see 3 of my pictures a week or whatever, it looks like that I'm, people just make these assumptions about you.
Oh, I know.
I am out, but I'm also home a lot doing other things and in my pajama and my Uggs just hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
So
I know, it's true. I think that we just need to rely on the smartness of people to understand that that's the case. And I think there have been enough articles about that recently, and people understand that it will be weird for me to post a picture of me in my Uggs with like no makeup on and my retainers in,
Right, exactly.
Which, by the way, I totally still wear them.
Do you wear them when you're out with a guy?
7th grade. No.
You still wear it in 7th grade?
From 7th grade, and I'm now 29. Yeah.
And you didn't lose it?
I have not lost it.
I
get
mine
it
like a week
adjusted
later.
sometimes. Yeah.
Your teeth are very nice.
Thank you. You know why.
That's so funny because I lost mine like a week after my brace. Is my oh my God, my phone's playing.
What just happened?
I don't know. I opened something that's
happening.
Playing. Oh, I hate when that happens. So and then the whole Facebook thing. So here's an article about Facebook. That's what I was opening. It says that okay, so we said that it leads them to the bedroom faster, and then 10 years ago, people would have to go on several dates to connect and share the same amount of information. So social media and texting are cutting out the middleman, allowing daters to flirt. And is this easy access hurting us, helping or hurting us? And 51% of people said that, this is from an ABC poll, between iPads and cell phones in the bedroom, couples' time isn't as intimate as it used to be. And that people are, using it during sex.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I just admitted that. It wasn't actual sex. It was oral sex.
It was. That is a distinction with a difference, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think that it's different when you're dating versus when you're in a relationship, honestly,
right.
Because I think that when you're dating, it really does help you get to know a person, especially Instagram. I'm a big Instagram into your life person.
Right.
Because it really is a window into who you are, especially because people use it frequently. And you can't really put on that much of a front when you're on it all the time and you're kind of documenting your day-to-day life.
Well,
But
so tell me about, like, because I don't really, like, do you have a strategy with your, like, do you post certain things? I hope I follow you. I don't follow you. I want to follow you.
I think you do. I follow you.
Okay, good.
Oh, no.
I'm going to follow you after this. But what do you, because everyone's saying that Instagram is I'm sex with Emily on Instagram. She's Annie M. Daly. But what do you mean? Like, well, how do you think Instagram more so than Twitter, or why do you think that's?
Well, because I think that, first of all, we are all visual creatures, and our eye is just drawn to images more than words, I think.
Right.
At a fundamental level, especially with our our low attention span, it's just the picture grabs you. So I think that's what the main advantage that it has over Twitter. And also it's, it gives you, I like to think of Instagram posts as a little mini magazine every single post, because it gives you a chance to show people how you see the world, and then you get the chance to caption it, and you tell them your thoughts about it. And it's like a direct insight into your brain. And it's more so.
I always feel like it's so random. I'm like, oh, that's funny, but I'm not thinking about it. But I guess it is.
It's because you think it's funny.
Right.
There's an app. It's new. It's called Glimpse. I think I interviewed you for this story.
Yeah, I remember this. Okay.
So it's a combination of Instagram and Tinder. And they say that it's really, really rising, and it's about to, be up there with Tinder. And what it does is it allows you to pick 9 of your favorite Instagram pictures that you think represent who you are. And that's what people look at, and that's how people judge you, is by your Instagram photos.
And it's a dating app.
It's a dating app. And so then if you like somebody's pictures, then you start talking to them, and you're like, yo, I love that sunset picture that you took. I also like to take sunset pictures.
Right. And that's
so
how you start the conversation.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing that more and more from people who said, I met this guy. I didn't get his phone number. I didn't get anything. But I got his Instagram account. So now I've been liking his photos, and he's liking mine. It's so interesting that how it connects people like that. You're right.
Absolutely. Because it's the gradual, in the post I actually called it Insta Love. And that's what it is.
And this was a story, I think I have it right here.
If you just type in Annie Daly New York Post Insta-Love, it will probably
Insta-Love.
pop up.
Yep. No, I have it right here.
Yeah.
I have so much here about your stuff. So, yeah, Insta-Love. Article Finding Love on Instagram versus Tinder. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to talk about Tinder, too.
Oh, yeah.
Instagram.
Yes,
but
we do.
What were you just saying before? I just cut you off.
I was just saying overall that that Instagram, to me, that's the thing that makes dating the easiest.
So are
because
you on Glimpse?
I'm on Glimpse. Yeah, I'm on all of them. I'm on Glimpse. I'm on Tinder. I'm on OkCupid. I'm on whatever.
Okay, we got to get into all the Tinder because there's so many but there's so many theories now. Like I was talking to a woman the other day at a meeting. Of course, it was about like a professional meeting, and then like after the meeting, she's like, "Okay, so I'm on Tinder." When everyone has their question, she's like, "I heard the first photo is supposed to be this, and the one that catches them, and the second one has to be your playful." And I'm like, "Really? Like, there's all these strategies?" But we're going to get to that in a minute. First, I'm going to give a little shout out to our sponsors here. I want to thank everyone for listening to the show and for supporting my sponsors who help keep this show free. So I got to talk about Good Vibrations. Annie, do you like sex toys?
Somewhat.
Okay, got it. We'll talk about that because I can give you some. So one of the reasons you're able to listen to us for free is because of the incredible people at goodvibes.com, because they carry all the best sex toy brands. You can get the Vibratex Dahlia, which is amazing. It's like the new updated rabbit, but even better. The girls. Yeah, hello. If you have a rabbit from the 90s, yeah, come to my office
actually
tomorrow.
have that from Cosmo.
You do?
I did a vibrator story one time, and I just got like tons of vibrators just sent to me under my desk.
Oh, I will.
It was amazing.
I'm going to update it, okay? Because I need to send you new ones.
Okay.
There's the girls from Vibratex, and when you use coupon code Emily, you can even get the strongest, most orgasmic vibrator of all time, the Magic Wand. So go to my site, sexwithemily.com, click on the Good Vibrations banner to see my favorite toys. Because I've tried them all. So if you click on the banner, you'll see my store and all the things I love, and use coupon code GVEmily20 for 20% off with it, which is a great deal. And goodvibes.com only carries the best brands, like nothing that's like toxic and going to hurt you, and they're all the best things in the world. So you got to check it out. Also, I would tell you about Promescent. So, Annie, you might know this. 1 in 3, not from personal experience, but from your writing prowess, 1 in 3 men suffers from premature ejaculation. But you don't have to anymore because Promescent is here to save the day. It's a quickly absorbing delay spray that allows you to have the sex that you want. You don't have to think about your baseball or your great Aunt Margaret because you don't want to ejaculate. You can focus on your partner's hot body now that you have the time to make them orgasm. Promescent also closes the orgasm gap because, it takes men 3 to 5 minutes to orgasm. It can take women 18 to 40 minutes to orgasm. So what do you do then? You can still take Promescent if it's not even that you come too quickly, but you want to double the time that you last. It closes that arousal gap. It helps you last twice as long. And thousands of urologists are recommending Promescent. It's the only FDA-approved treatment for premature ejaculation. Go to Promescent.com to find out more, and you'll love it. So it'll change your life, I promise. Okay, so Annie, Tinder. I know you've got a lot to say on this. So
I do.
You've been on Tinder. Are you still on it actively?
I am, actually. Real quick,
have you
funny
been Tindering
story
in California?
about it. I have.
Oh,
so
love it. The travel Tinder.
Okay, yeah.
That's
I have
all about hookup.
Oh, man, I have 2 huge Tinder stories to tell. The first one is that I have been in California for the past week. I'm visiting my grandparents in Laguna Beach.
Okay.
So it's about an
so you got to
hour
get out
away
of the
from
house
here.
anyway. Just kidding.
So, well, yeah. So they're 87 years old, and they brought me to a happy hour with them, and it was all of their
at
80-year-old
2 in the
friends,
afternoon?
Right. No, it was at 5 o'clock
Okay,
actually,
good.
and they were, taking back some glasses of wine. Let me tell you,
I love it.
And so I decided to introduce all of them to Tinder.
Oh my God, I want to film that. That's amazing.
It was so funny. So they were all. So I had a bunch of 80-year-old people just surrounding me, and we were going through all the dudes on Tinder who were within a 5-block radius, and they made me message some of them. It was so funny. I wrote to one of them, "Hey, my grandpa thinks you're cute."
Did it work?
Yeah, he wrote back. He was like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?"
Do you message them first when you match sometimes?
Yeah, I do all the time.
Okay.
That's the thing. I mean, they message me, but I have no problem messaging them
That's
first.
good. That's bold. Okay.
It is bold. Yeah. It's
why wait?
I don't really think about it, to be honest. That's my whole thing with Tinder. And
Right.
This is with all of my friends and all of the stories that I've written about it. What the ultimate conclusion is, just from, crowd talking to the crowd, is that people do it randomly and don't really put that much thought into it. And a lot of people think that people are thinking about it more than they are.
You mean
And
as
it's
far as
like-
their profile or as far as just swiping and
Just
picking?
swiping. It's like people do it
It's like a
when
game.
they're on the couch watching TV. It's just like this absent-minded way to kill time, and no one's really doing it seriously at all. Or when they're drinking, and it's kind of like when you're waiting in line at Trader Joe's
Right,
or something, and you just like you're done looking through Instagram, you've seen all the pictures, and you're like, what's next?
Yeah,
Do
right.
some
I go
Tindering?
around. I do a loop.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram. Right.
Yeah, totally. Just do a little swipes.
Right.
And what happens to me sometimes is I'll like get into it for I'll like go on a Tinder binge for a little bit.
It is a
And I'll
binge, and
just
then
be
you feel
like,
dirty sometimes. But
Yeah. And I'll just message a ton of guys. Wake up in the morning and I have all these responses and I'm like, over it.
Right. That's what I did. I got so
I don't even
overwhelmed.
write back.
Right. Exactly. You're like, that was my moment last night. Or I
Oh,
was like-
totally.
yeah. And then do they ever go, hey, and they message you again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, one time this guy, I went on a Tinder binge and I messaged him and I was like, hey, you're cute. So of course he writes back, and by the time he wrote back, I wasn't even interested.
Right.
And so then he keeps messaging me and he's like, just so you know, there's a guy on Tinder who would love to take you out for a drink. And I'm like, all right, well, now you've
Did
reached
you
creep
delete
status.
him? Right. Did you just block? I know. I had a guy who was posting. I think we matched, and then he messaged me, and then he messaged me again a week later, and then he said, here's a graph of our relationship. And he was like,
What?
He did a thing, and he was like a nosedive. He's like, here it was here, and then we've gone. And I'm like, our relationship, because he's been he like probably messaged me 6 times, and I just never answered. He's like, ooh, like a downward
So
spiral.
he seriously premature escalated.
He prematurely escalated. I'm like, our relationship, I didn't get back to you, but he was trying to be funny, but whatever.
Yeah, so how did you respond to that, though?
I didn't respond. I didn't respond to
Right.
any of his messages. We just matched. And then he said, hey, like your photo. And then I didn't answer. And then like a week later, hello. And then like a week later, like, so I guess this might not work out. Like it was like one of those
Yeah.
like swingers, remember?
It's like you should have just written back, like, let's just talk about the fact that you made a graph for someone who you've never met.
I
Like,
know.
just let that marinate for a second.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
It's
Like, could you
no,
just there's something
that's
probably
not
more
cool.
productive you could be doing with your time for sure.
Yeah.
So Tinder, so there was a study also that said that 21% of taken respondents, so people in relationships, admitted to using dating apps or websites behind their partner's back. 43% were on Plenty of Fish, 37% on Tinder, and 29% on Match. Like Match is full on. Like you're paying.
That's weird. You're paying for Match.
I know.
I've heard of people who do, and OkCupid too. I've heard of people who are, they have boyfriends and girlfriends
Exactly.
and they go on. I mean, I think to me, the first thing that comes to my mind is you're just in it for the cheap thrill.
Right.
And you want that like little blip of validation. You want to know that you've still got it, even though you're in a relationship.
This is what happens in relationships, I think, with a lot of people
Yeah.
who've been in long-term relationships. Like women are like, I don't feel sexy. I want to feel desired. And men too, who don't feel appreciated and loved by their wife. They're like, I'll find someone out there. And then I think that's why people have affairs. Like here, I've been in this relationship. My partner doesn't tell me I'm beautiful anymore, make me feel good. But here's someone who thinks I'm so great, and that's going to make me feel good. And again, it goes back to self-esteem. And
Oh, it
confidence.
totally does.
Because these people, it's like affirmation nuggets is what my ex-boyfriend, one of them, used to call it. Because I used to say to him, like, tell me something good. Like, we'd be emailing. This was before, like, we were texting. We would just email. And he's like, you need a little affirmation nugget, Emily?
Yeah.
I think you're really hot. I'm like, great. I feel better. Thanks. Have a good day. I'm going to go back to writing or whatever,
Absolutely.
But we need it. And you also do get, like, a dopamine rush every time you get a text or a like.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, that's a proven fact.
right. And I see it.
Yeah. And
That's
I
why
think
we're
that a
also
lot of
addicted.
it, it's
Like, it's
when
a true-out addiction.
Oh, it
Full
definitely
on.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
100%. Because it's so instantly accessible, then your body becomes used to getting that. And so it becomes harder to get it from within when you can so easily get it from.
right, from everyone
Other
else.
people,
I mean,
yeah.
I can't not check it. I almost feel like I want to do like a detox of my phone. Like I usually
I
these
know.
10-day silent retreats, these meditation retreats, which I actually want to do
What do
again.
you think about those?
Oh,
Do
I've
those...
done it. Yeah, it works. I mean, it
Interesting.
works. I mean, it's like anything. It's like I haven't done one in like 8 years, but for me, meditation has been like even though I'm not as good at keeping up with the daily practice, I can like do these 10-day things where you have no phone, no reading, no writing, it's called Vipassana. I mean, there's different ones, but I did the first one in Thailand like 15 years ago, but I would just, you meditate from 4 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night. And you just sit and you meditate. And it's so, I mean, it's hard. It's the hardest thing in the world because you
Oh, yeah.
can't do anything else, but you really just learn to recognize your mind and learn how to calm it because so many of us let our minds, we're so impulsive, especially with our phones and everything. And we let our minds control us rather than learning how to control our minds and our thoughts. We're so much more reactive than proactive. And,
Exactly.
And then your mind, but you're sitting there. I mean, I was there for 10 days. It wasn't until like the 8th day that I finally felt that I was actually able to, for 5 minutes straight, not have a thought and just focus on my breath. So for me, it was a really good experience. But like, I can go off the grid for 11 days, like literally off the grid. Like people can go on vacation now and they've got their phones.
Yeah. Well, I think that when you go off the grid for that long, then when you come back, obviously you won't be able to keep that up. But if it does work for some sort of jump start, that's what those retreats are. Like if you were to do a digital detox, isn't that what they're called? Digital detox. They're so, you read about them. I've never done them myself, but it would be a jump start. And so it's like it gets you really conscious and focused on how addicted you are. So then you can come back and maybe manage yourself in more of a normal way.
And that's the hard part,
right?
Is integrating it into your daily life.
Exactly.
Like you can do anything if you're on a monastery somewhere, and
right. And see, that's like the danger with them, though, is that people think that like you come back and it will just magically transform you into the perfect balance. It won't. I think that the only thing it does is it just makes you conscious.
Makes you conscious
and
of
so
it.
So then you have to really come back and learn how to do that in your day-to-day.
Exactly. And that's the part that I still try, like even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, but it's very hard. But I know that it's for me and for a lot of people, I think, all the stress and all the anxiety in the world, if people truly learned to meditate, to get into their mind, to get out of their mind, and just to learn to focus and relax, that they would just there'd be so much less anxiety, so much less stress in the world. Because I think that we're constantly, like the ADD, like I literally have ADD. I mean, I really truly do. But then with the phone, like we all have it, right? Because we're getting pulled in a million different areas. So how do you have a linear thought? Like when you're writing, so you do a lot of great writing. I love all your stories. I love your voice.
Little validation. Here we go.
Oh no, I mean it though. Like I really like your voice. And so my assistant, they reading all your stuff today too. Like I really do. Like I think you have a great voice, and I. But like, how do you write? How do you sit and do it with like do you turn off your phone ever? Or do you?
I'm the opposite. I actually use my phone. I use those little pick-me-ups to keep me going.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for better or for worse. It's just what I do, and I think that everybody just finds their own way. But yeah, I mean, I check Instagram. Like when I'm writing, I check Instagram so much it's like unhealthy.
Aren't you glad that no one can see how often you're checking your stuff?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to say, like, she was just on 2 minutes ago. Like it does on Tinder, right?
Yeah. Oh, good thing.
So wait, so tell me about, did you go on any dates this week on Tinder? And then
no. Well, that's the funny thing is that I have gone on a couple binges with my grandparents because now we keep going out to dinner, and every time it's like whenever somebody new comes, they're like, let's talk about Annie's Tinder.
They've never seen anything like it.
Oh, yeah. So in the middle of the night, I keep getting all these random messages. So funny. But so no, I haven't got any dates. But I will say that another time that I Tinder traveled, that's what I call it, is that I lived in Costa Rica for the month of April. I think I told you that.
Yes.
So
you could Tinder in Costa Rica?
Oh. Can you Tinder in Costa Rica?
Tell me.
Yes. So basically, I used it in Costa Rica to meet all of the locals. And the funny thing is that I was staying in Tamarindo, which is a surf town. And when you go abroad, it's like everyone's on Tinder. But it's kind of different when you're abroad than when you're here. Because here, people use it as more of a hookup, dating app. There, it's actually a really good way to just meet friends.
Right.
And
when you're traveling.
And it's like I went on all of these Tinder dates and nothing happened with any of the guys except for that I really became good friends with them. Because they just wanted to be friends with American girls. So it's weird to me.
And they weren't creepy and you felt safe.
They weren't creepy. Yeah, it's like one of them... they were all like local Costa Rican guys with dreads, so hot, like surfer boys, six packs. Oh yeah,
that's
the whole
hot.
thing. Oh yeah,
that's so fun. And then there's that there's not even if something did happen, you're on vacation.
Yeah,
even though it didn't, but you're also making friends and connecting. That makes sense.
Exactly, and it's like obviously I probably could have made a move, but it's interesting to know that when you use Tinder abroad, that it does kind of take on a different form.
Yeah,
so I highly recommend.
Good to know. So, any other Tinder tips or
it.
stories? Like, what do you think about the pictures and or have you heard all these theories about like the first picture has to be this and the second picture? And
I have. I think that it's more about what you say first. Like, just don't say, "Hey, what's up?"
Right.
You
Let's
have
talk about the first message. And this is all for this is for even online match anything Facebook. What do you recommend the first message to say?
I think that you need to look into their pictures and see if they offer more than that one picture. If you think that initial headshot is cute, look into their other ones because they'll have like 2 or 3 others. And say something specific or like, where were you in this picture? That looks cool. Like, oh, I recognize that background was this so-and-so beach. Just some sort of question that shows that you actually are talking to them specifically, as opposed to just like a
nice pic,
copy paste thing that you're doing to like 20 girls.
Is that what guys do?
Oh yeah, it's like you get these messages. I mean, I know that he has sent this to every single girl in OkCupid. Like you
what? Like what did you get? Give me an example. Like you could just tell. Guys, we know your dick. We know your jam. Okay.
Like, you know, like you have such beautiful eyes and such a nice smile. I'd love to get to know you. It's like, that's so vague.
Right, exactly. I always tell guys to be specific. Don't just say she has nice eyes. Like I always say like I have this dark circle around my eye, like this brown. I'm like I love when guys are like, God, your eyes are so cool. You have the coolest ring. Like notice something specific like around your eyes, and it just makes me melt. I'm like, oh, you're noticing me. You know, like you notice something. It's not just like, you know, yeah, you look pretty or whatever. So
it's also less overwhelming too for the girl to be the recipient of the compliment when it's a really specific thing.
Right.
Because then it's like it shows that they care, but it's not like, oh, you're beautiful and you're the answer to my everything.
Exactly. You
it's
are
like,
my
that's
everything.
A little overwhelming.
Right.
You know?
I know. And
it's like, hey,
right.
you have nice dark hair. I'm like, thanks.
Exactly. I know. Right. You're like, what? So dating. So have you dated online on other sites or anything? Or have you?
I have. I do OkCupid. And that.
Any other tips for that, or that you've written about, or like the trends with online dating?
I think that with that, let's see. I think it really does come down to the message, and don't make it too long. It's like usually they say that about a paragraph is the best, and just really be specific and look for something that actually makes that person unique, as opposed to something that just applies to everyone.
Right.
So pick something out, ask a question, say like, hey, I like that picture of you at a Radiohead concert. I like Radiohead too. Or just pick something out of their profile that they say that they like and just talk about that.
Right.
Because obviously everybody knows what you're on there for. It's like, let's just back up for a second and remember that you're on an online dating site to go on dates.
Right.
And get to the date first.
But
and
so
don't
many guys
message back and forth.
Right. Don't do it. That's what we started with, the premature escalation. Don't do it too many times beforehand. Like if you make a date in 2 weeks, like maybe you can text to confirm. Oh, we talked about this too for your article. For your New York Post piece, it's like we could text to confirm maybe and text once or twice, but not a whole like, so where'd you grow up?
Right, it's stupid.
What's
and
your
it's
favorite
like,
color?
And don't try to be smooth or anything on it. It's like, remember the fact that you're on an online dating site. So are they. Why did you sign up for it? To go on dates. So just go on them.
Are you looking for a relationship? Exactly.
You know?
Just go on the friggin' date.
Like,
I mean, it's so much. The thing is, I love dating. And so I haven't online dated yet, really. But I mean, I did do a few tips. I actually had a live Tinder date in the studio. Did I tell you that?
You did tell me
yes.
that. That's amazing.
And so it was fun. And Anderson, I was just listening to it, the live Tinder date, because I'm listening. I never listen to my shows. But I listened to that show because I have to pick out a few podcasts for something, and it's pretty damn funny.
I think you liked. I think that he and I hit it off more than you and he hit it off.
Yeah,
oh,
that's true. And then right after I listened to it, he messaged me on Facebook this morning.
Ooh, that's a sign. You guys gotta have babies.
I thought that we're not gonna.
Facebook message as opposed to text. That's an interesting.
Well, because we're friends on Facebook.
Okay.
But that's why. But we're not like really texting friends because I wasn't into him. I didn't want to kiss him.
Okay.
So that happens. So,
this is public. People can hear this.
What?
That's
I know,
mean.
But he's not listening. What? No. I mean, we just never texted after a date 6 months ago.
I like that dude.
I know. You really liked
him.
Said
that
also,
he
would definitely, Anderson, just to play devil's advocate, he would know that she didn't want to kiss him because she didn't.
Because she didn't. Yeah, that's probably a good point.
And I didn't
she
hear
did,
from him
then
today until he sent me a link to
He was talking about how he liked the dark circle in your eye, and he was going on and on.
No, we didn't.
All right, let's just be
break
real here.
Yeah.
You can tell when people like each other.
Right.
Like, it's
but
just
sometimes
like, it's not that.
I feel like I know, but I have this habit that I don't want to say it's a habit, but what I do is I can talk myself into whereas men decide in 30 seconds I'm going to sleep with her or not. But women, do you ever do this?
Oh, yeah.
I like him. I don't know. I'll give him a second, third chance. And then 2 years go by and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not. That used to be a pattern that would last 2 years. Now I'm pretty good after a few months. But women can kind of like rationalize or think, well, maybe. Or a lot of women want to change a guy, you know?
Yeah. Can't do that.
Can't. No one's going to change unless they want to change. So you are single, actively single in New York dating.
Actively
Tell
single,
me about
yes.
New York dating life.
All right. Well, I think that it's really hard, and a lot of it is that the guys are just so ambitious, and it's really hard to date them because they don't have a lot of time, and most of them put work first.
They do before you. No,
yeah.
But see, this is right. We had lunch, and you said that. I said, well, maybe it's the guys that you're attracted to. Because
It's true.
You're attracted to the guys who are driven, But then you have to look at that, like you're the common denominator, and it's not like every guy in New York is like that. But that's what you're attracted to is drive, ambition.
Lot, but yeah,
it's true. More so than here, when everyone's like in coffee shops and they're like actors / waiters, right?
Yeah, totally.
Everyone. Like, there's no one that is
It's
working.
true, though, with you, though, Annie, because I've met, like, literally hundreds of people in here. And I think you're the first person to say, so tell me exactly what it is that you do here. You know, you try and figure out what people do. Yeah.
Oh,
I
like
said
what
that.
Anderson, you said Anderson?
Or is that the reporter in you?
I am
She's
a
a
reporter. But I don't know.
No one's ever asked me what I do.
Really?
I don't even know
Ever.
what you do.
I do everything.
He works the board. No,
I mean,
he does
you were
everything.
walking
Sound
around. You were
engineer.
a person in the room where I was, and I wanted to get to know you.
It was nice. I liked
nice.
it. I appreciated that.
Annie's awesome. So New York is challenging for the men. But I see. No, but New York is more so than elsewhere. I know that because people, it's a rat race. Like you're working, trying to make money. You got to make a lot of money to live there. And do you feel like there's that whole bigger, better deal thing going on too, or just more that people like they're looking over their shoulder that there could be someone else? Or do you think
Oh, for sure. It's both. It's like, first, it's the ambition curse, which is what I've called it, which is that everybody wants somebody who's ambitious, but then the very quality that you're attracted to is the very one that makes you not able to hang out.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then also there's the fact that, of course, everybody knows that everyone is on so many sites.
Right.
And also meeting people in real life. That's the whole thing.
Exactly.
It's like you're out at bars and you're meeting people, you're on Tinder, but the weird thing is it's all so casual. And it's like when you're on all of the sites and all of the apps, like I'm on all of them. What do I have to say for it? It's like I've been sitting here for an hour. Have I told even remotely any sort of cool thing that's happened from being on all these sites?
I guess not. Maybe not. Well, have you met
like,
any relationships or anything happened?
I've had little flings here and there that have been fun, but definitely all of the people who I've really seriously dated haven't been from online. It's like, I think it's more of a supplement to a lot of people. And I know that a lot of people have found relationships on them too, which again, it's like when you try to generalize these things, it's just all so individual. And of course, some people have met their boyfriends and girlfriends.
Right.
That's good for them. But also, I think a lot of people are in my shoes, which is that it's this supplemental thing that you do sometimes. You don't really have a rhyme or reason to when you do it, how you do it.
And I think, but
It's
don't you
like-
think people are meeting? The thing is, do you think it's a problem that people are meeting? That there's so many more opportunities now, because like I can't tell you how many. We actually were going to get in some emails in a second. I wanted you to help me answer some emails from listeners.
Ooh,
but
fun.
it is that so many people are saying like, oh, my boyfriend left his Facebook page open, and I noticed that he's been messaging his ex, and there's all this like ex, why you friends with your ex, why did you do this or that? Like there's all this like secretive stuff going on that people are doing online where they think they can't get caught, and a lot of it is Facebook. They say Facebook is responsible for like a certain percentage of divorces and stuff like that because your ex, you can like. Literally, I think I'm friends with all my exes from since college on my site. You know, like
It's like it's kind of weird to defriend them. It almost shows more about you that you care so much.
Exactly.
You know?
And the whole
It's like
defriending,
you
do you defriend an ex? Do you not? Like, I'm still friends with my ex, but now I'm like, he's got this cute girlfriend, and like every day I see him. And my sister-in-law was like, can you just look? And she went to my computer and she took him off my feed. I'm like, but I kind of liked it in this really like masochistic way. Even though I didn't like him and I broke up, I was like, but I like seeing their photos, but I don't. It makes me feel good and bad. And have you read the studies lately that people who spend more time on Facebook end up feeling more depressed?
Oh, yeah.
There's all these studies
because,
about that,
I mean,
too.
that comes down to comparison because it gets back to what we were saying. Like, everybody's posting pictures of their best selves, which you have to just really rely on everyone to understand that that's happening.
Right.
And hopefully everyone gets that. But then, of course, when you're looking at somebody's best self life, then you automatically compare your life to theirs, and it doesn't look as glamorous.
Exactly.
And so, therefore, you are depressed.
And they said that the more they get depressed, the more time that they spend online. There was like all these stats, and their relationships are worse because it's bringing up all these issues because they're checking their partner and why do you like this girl's photo? I mean, my best friend liked my ex's photo on Instagram.
Heart palpitations sometimes.
I called her. I'm like, why did you
freak
like
out.
the photo of him and his new girlfriend to my best friend? Like, I wasn't really mad. It was kind of a joke because she truly is like my sister. I'm like, really? You had, because I get it. We dated for 2 years and you like him, but you had to like the picture with the new girlfriend. You know, like we all know what everyone's doing too at any time.
I know. And that gets back to, it's like, yeah, man, that like is real.
Yeah.
That's not just something, because when people try to have that as an excuse, like, oh, whatever, that's just Facebook. No, it's not.
You made a decision.
Yeah,
in that
moment.
is
a conscious like, and it does matter.
It hurt me. It hurt me deeply.
Yeah.
Okay, let's answer some. I love everyone. Thank you for emailing me at feedback@sexwithemily.com. Oh my God, we're like flying through this. But I thought you could help me with this one. It's about snooping. And again, you can email me. And also on Twitter, I wanted to mention this. It's at Sex with Emily. And then Instagram, I'm doing a lot more Instagrams. It's at Sex with Emily and Facebook.com/Sex with Emily. Get your questions however you send them. So this one is about snooping. Dear Emily,
man.
Lindsay here from Los Angeles. Love your show, and following your tips has truly helped me have the best sex of my life. I've done something that I know is wrong, but I also know many people still do it anyways, snooping. Reading my boyfriend's emails and texts. I was hurt so bad in my last relationship that I look at this as an insurance policy. To my pleasant surprise, everything is pretty clean. However, I've discovered a couple small lies. One evening, he said he got a ride home from work with his friend Mike. Turns out was a female coworker I've never met. There's also been some flirty emails with past lovers that don't lead to anything, but he never just stops it with, hey, I've got a girlfriend now. I obviously can't bring up the snooping, and he hasn't broken any rules technically, but this doesn't make me feel very secure. What are your thoughts? Love, Lindsay.
Whoa.
Now, I feel like that I get these, we get them in Love Line, we get them in my show. People snoop and they feel bad, but I feel like every time you snoop, you're probably going to find something. And have you ever snooped?
I actually haven't,
Oh,
which is, I know.
Like on purpose, like you actively were like, I could look, but I'm not going to?
Yeah, very much so, because I know that my brain would just go to bad places.
Right.
And so I preemptively don't, but I have a lot of friends who have, and I've also written stories about it too. So
so I would suggest, so I want to know, Lindsay, I want to know for her, like what led her to snoop in the first place? Because you said he's a great boyfriend and everything is great. And has he ever given you any reason to doubt him in the past? And then studies say 77%, and this doesn't surprise me, 76% of women would look at their partner's email if it were left open. Survey says 69% of men said they'd do the same thing. So it looks like, but you don't. So you're in that minority.
Right. But that's because I'm kind of weird about that, though. And
no,
I think that's
true,
also
because she said she feels it's true. It's a violation.
Yeah. And I think that's also that comes from just working in Cosmo for so long and kind of having all of that brain. It's like you have the brain too, it's like where these things can go, and so I just choose to not, but I totally understand everybody who does. Her situation is hard though, because I think that's actually I think that it really comes down to what you find when you snoop, because if you find that he's cheating
full on, then
hello, bring it up.
Abort mission.
Exactly.
Right.
But if it's just like little things like that, that's a really tricky situation, especially the ride home from the female coworker who he
Why
said
didn't he
was
just
male.
say? Right.
Why
Is
would
she
he
a jealous?
not just say
I wonder if
that?
Lindsay's a jealous person, so he just thought, well, I'm just gonna not tell her because I know she gets weird about other women. Like, I wonder if Lindsay. She said here she was hurt in her last relationship, right? She said, I was hurt in the past, that she looked, I believe, I was never a jealous person. And I'm actually still not, but I went through a period, in my 20s, I was dating a guy and I found out he cheated on me. At the time, it's because he kept a list of everyone that he slept with in a drawer, and I saw the list and I wasn't the last name on the list. That's so old school. It was written down, but I still found it. And then after that, I started doubting him and doubting people, and I let that go. I'm actually a pretty trusting person, but so she was hurt in her last relationship, so it's a trigger, and she wanted just as an insurance policy. So I kind of get that. It's really hard to build trust again in men or in women if you've been hurt. But I think that she can't let her past relationship dictate this new one. And but the problem is if she sits on it and doesn't tell him, which I guess why she doesn't want to, because then she's a snooper, she could explode and attack him one day. You hold this as an arsenal. The next time he's going to take out the trash, she'll be like, why don't you get a ride from your coworker? And he's like, what the hell are you talking about?
I know, totally.
Right? She'll totally blow up on him. So, I think that, I don't know, I think she should maybe admit it. That she snooped and say what she found, and she won't do it again. But then people don't tell the truth either. Guys don't tell the truth. It's going to be like, you might say, well, I thought you would get hurt.
Yeah. I don't know. On that one, my gut is to not bring it up and to just keep that in her mind, and maybe just let him know going forward that she's kind of trying to get over her past relationship and that she's becoming less jealous. Because if the situation was that he was saying that to protect her, if he doesn't feel like he needs to protect her as much, if she is seeming more outwardly strong and not needing that, like maybe it will be better.
Right.
But
So maybe he won't. But then he's flirting with the exes. But see, I always flirt with my ex from 10 years ago. I don't want to sleep with him, but we send flirty texts all the time. But it's not even flirty. Like it's just. It's fun. And if anyone picked up my phone, that if I happen to be in a relationship, they might be like, why are you doing that? But it doesn't mean anything either.
Right.
I just sort of have these relationships with men. We make jokes, and I could see them taken out of context, and I wouldn't want anyone reading my messages. So, yeah, maybe not, Lindsay. Maybe she's got to work on her own jealousy issues. And I wouldn't, because the problem is, too, once you start checking, sometimes you keep checking, too.
Right. It's like, stop checking, for sure.
It becomes an addiction.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got to check it again. I got to check it again. Is there anything else? Like, I know that. So I would either, So the choice is, Lindsay, either you stop, you don't snoop again, and you look at this relationship as it is in the moment, how it's going in the present day. Is he treating you well? Is he a good lover? God, we haven't even gotten to sex.
I know. What? Oh, it's already.
I know.
No.
We have 1 minute. Oh, my God. Yeah. We have like a minute.
The only thing we got to was you checking your phone during oral.
Oh, my God. That's pretty funny. I know. Damn.
Why don't we make a move for that and then call it a day with the sex talk?
Okay, do it.
What should it be called?
He didn't even care, though. He's so nice. He's like, I get it, babe. You got to get the newsletter out.
How about checkmate?
Checkmate. Exactly. I literally did. I'm like, who would do that? He's not really my mate. He's my oral sex mate. And he's my toy tester. Oh, God, I don't think we have time for more things. Annie, you're so awesome. And we have 5. Okay, should we do one more? Is there anything else that you on your mind that you want to talk about, or should I read another email? Was there anything like you felt like you wanted to get into, or things you want to talk about that you're working on? Like anything? I know the L piece. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah,
she just told me about when she walked in, and the name of that is, we'll have it on our site as well.
Generation validation.
So that can affect. That's going to be huge. It just got posted.
It did. Well, I think 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it made the rounds. Yeah, I really liked that story.
Okay, good. I want to check it out for sure. But anything else that you've noticed or that you're interested in that you're working on right now?
I actually was.
You're writing for everybody. Annie's amazing. You're going to see her name everywhere. She's blowing up.
Oh, man.
She's blowing up. I mean, you're so successful at 30 that you have all that you can freelance and then you can do all this. I mean, I'm just impressed. So
why thank you.
Yes.
I'm actually about to be 30. I think that's my game changer decade. I'm still 29, and I feel like I'm using this year to just kind of float between things and just see what I'm doing.
Right.
Which I really recommend to everyone, by the way, if you can swing it.
Yeah.
It's like, because I feel like, I did all of my 20s in a corporate job, and then...
Was that at Cosmo?
At Cosmo, yeah. And
I was going to ask you what you learned about, like how that changed your views of sex, or what you learned about. I mean, you started there when you were in your early 20s.
Uh-huh.
So did you know anything about sex? Did you know
topic.
anything? Right. That was one of my... I have like 18 million questions I didn't get to. But did it change your views of sex, or what you learned, or...
It did. Of sex itself, the act, or just of
how did it
dating
affect your
general?
personal life? Yeah.
Yeah. It affected me in some good ways, but also some bad ways. And I think that the bad ways is that I was the editor of this section called Manthropology, which was basically like all inside the male brain. I used to interview you for it all the time.
Right. Loved it.
I loved it. I loved doing it so much. But I found that being the editor for it, I had to constantly be pitching ideas. So I kind of started analyzing guys more than I would normally do.
Right.
And I would become very nitpicky, and I would see them do things. And instead of just like letting it go as just something that they do. Like, okay, so we did decode his Instagram. And it was hilarious. And so it was like, if he posts mostly nature shots, then that means he is a chill boyfriend. And if he posts mostly selfies, that means that he's somewhat narcissistic and all of this stuff. So I found myself, it's like when I was dating people, I would look at their Instagrams and the full screen, and I would analyze them, and I would be like, wait, would I normally do this if I weren't writing this article?
Exactly.
Like, is this like Annie brain, or is this Annie Cosmo brain? Like, what's happening right now? So it was, it's a fine line to
I agree. I do that too.
Yeah.
Right. I totally got it.
Yeah.
And so, so what else is next? Are you working on anything else that we can talk about? Okay, so we
sure.
could do one right
I'm
now.
doing a porn story, which actually I really like to interview you for that.
Yeah. Who's it for? Or
New York Post.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And porn watching habits?
Yeah, so it's actually based on this study that just came out, and it was like 2 weeks ago in the Journal of, like some big
Psychology
journal, I'm forgetting,
journal,
whatever.
like APA or whatever,
one of those like science-based good ones. And it found that guys who watch a lot of porn are actually less turned on by sexual stimuli in real life, which is, it's a total
totally
thing.
impacting the way men are relating to women and they're having more sexual dysfunction because of it.
I think that we've talked about this before because I wrote a story about this at Cosmo a couple of years ago, but this is now a new updated study and it's just more info.
Yeah. Talk. How much longer are you in town? I want to know.
I
want to Tinder with you.
I know. Can we go to a bar and just hit on random dudes?
Yeah. Can we just go to a bar, hit on dudes, or just Tinder the whole time and have some guy?
Yeah.
There's another site that they were telling me about earlier. I know we got to wrap it up, but there was some site they were telling us about. Grouper, have you heard this? Where you groups of dates, which is kind of how a lot of people date today. Anyway, they're like, hey, well, at least in San Francisco, like nobody asks you out. Talk about the difference between cities.
Oh yeah,
nobody approaches you in San Francisco. Like you don't get asked out. Here, it's like I'm walking into Whole Foods, some guy's like, hey, like let's go out, and I like it. I mean, it's nicer, but in San Francisco, it's like, hey, a bunch of my friends are meeting out. You want to meet up? So that's what it sounds like Grouper is, but it's kind of nice because there's buffers.
Yeah,
it's like 3 people and 3 people who don't really know each other, but it's kind of like that table for 6 things. Like they used to do those dating sites that you all have lunch with like 6 people, but
oh yeah,
I don't know about. I mean, I don't know much about Grouper, but
I do know. I feel like I keep saying this, but I did write a story about that at Cosmo about Grouper, and the big thing there is jealousy, and so because they don't match you up, it's like 3 girls go out with 3 guys, but they don't say which guy is for which girl. So the girls, it's like they're all friends and they don't want to be competing with each other, but they totally are.
So the girls are friends, but the guys aren't? Or the guys and the girls are all friends and they meet?
No, it's like normally it's the girls are friends and they'll sign up for a 3-pack, and the guys are friends and they'll sign up for a 3-pack. And so then it's like friends going out with friends, but usually it's like 3 dudes and 3 guys, or three dudes and 3 girls.
Right.
So when you do it with your friends, it's like you don't want to be competing for the cute one or for the one that you obviously all like.
But you all like the same guy.
So it's just kind of, that's the one. Okay. I mean, ideally it would work out so that it's like these nice little even pairs, but like, let's be honest, whatever works out.
Whatever works for you. Just try a little bit of everything. Annie Daly, it's Annie M, as in masturbation. Sorry, it's first name. Sorry. Daly, D-A-L-Y, on Twitter and on Instagram. And you can check out all of her great writings. She writes for everybody.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love having you. I'm
this
so great.
So
Post. I know, really fun. We've been talking about this. We've been excited.
I know.
Thank you, Anderson. And
thanks, Anderson.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to Sex with Emily. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com. Annie, so you know toys, sex toys. There are so many toys for women, but there is the number 1 selling sex toy for men is a masturbation sleeve. So it looks and feels like the real deal. Like men use their hands. They're like, what the hell? What do I need a toy for? But it feels really good. Some guys say it feels like actually having sex. And my intern today gave one to her boyfriend, and she's like, he's freaking out over it. He loves it. They're like 24. And she's like, and now when I don't have sex with them, I'm just like, take your fleshlight. Because it feels like it. I know. So fleshlight, it is, you can feel the pleasure of having sex anytime. Not that you won't ever want to have sex again, but it's a little something to spice it up. It can also help you last longer in bed. They have a stamina training unit, and you're masturbating at the same time, and you're learning to last longer in bed, which is really important for a lot of women. So, and you might experience some of the most mind-blowing orgasms of your life. And if you've ever fantasized about having sex with your favorite porn star, she probably has a fleshlight shaped just like her intimate parts. So they're available in realistic flesh tone colors, and they feel amazing. So go to sexwithemily.com/fleshlight to get your fleshlight now. That's sexwithemily.com/fleshlight.
Perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels.
Hey, this is Jordan Harbinger, host of the Art of Charm podcast, the #1 dating and relationship advice podcast in iTunes.
I'm Emily Morse, host of the Sex with Emily podcast, the #1 sex and relationship podcast on iTunes and at sexwithemily.com. And this is Just the Tip.
So what are some common mistakes that guys make during sex? I mean, we hear all the time, like, guys make this, guys did that, da-da-da. I think one of the most common things is guys have no idea what women want.
Exactly. That is a great mistake that many men
Great mistake.
make. It's a great mistake. No, you're right on point with that. The guys assume that, my last girlfriend wanted this, so she must want this. But I mean, as you mature sexually, you should never assume this. You should never make assumptions that every woman is the same. So what you got to do is learn how to communicate with your partner and find out what she wants. You do not know what this woman wants. I'm telling you. The first time you have sex with her, you have no idea.
You have no idea.
You really don't. There's not like a universal thing that every woman likes, except for maybe, diamonds or something.
Right.
But we're talking about sex.
Okay. And what else?
The thing is number 2 is that you have all she needs, okay? Some women, I'm telling you, Jordan, they cannot have an orgasm with less than 3,000 RPMs. No human tongue or fingers can generate that kind of vibration. But men think something's wrong with them if they need a vibrator. And I tell all women and guys, like, don't be intimidated by the vibrator. If that's what she needs to get off,
right,
bring the vibrator into the room. Have your own little threesome there with her and her vibrator. You know, it's a lot less work for the guy and a lot more pleasure for her.
That makes sense. All right.
Yeah, and people can always go to goodvibes.com and use coupon code Emily and get a discount on a vibrator.
Good to know. A little vibrator discount never hurts. And, a lot of guys think that women think just like we do. So they're like, kind of we think that sex feels the same for us as it does for you.
Exactly. And that's a huge disconnect because when a man has sex with a woman, his penis goes into her body. So
is that how that works?
Yeah. No, sorry. This is sex is 101.
That's mistake number 4.
Exactly. But think about that. It's like off the charts. And you just think guys are like, I can't imagine what that feels like. And they can't imagine that feeling isn't the same way for her. But the inside of the vagina is less sensitive than the outer parts for most women. So deep thrusting into the vagina isn't necessarily great for women. It's the outer 2/3 of the vagina that are most sensitive.
So you don't want to bang on that cervix.
No. I mean, it feels good for a little bit, but you want to mix it up all the time. It does not feel the same way for women. And the clitoris, just because you're having sex, you got to pay attention to the clitoris. Whether she uses her hands, you use your hands, or a vibrator. But the clitoris, most women need a clitoral orgasm before they can have any other kinds of orgasms.
Good to know. And we'll continue some of these sex mistakes next week. If you guys want to learn more from The Art of Charm about dating, relationships, and even networking for business, visit us at theartofcharmpodcast.com or check us out on iTunes and follow me on Twitter at The Art of Charm.
And check out the Sex with Emily podcast at sexwithemily.com and on iTunes if you want to have the best sex of your life, that is. Also, follow me on Twitter at sexwithemily.
Buying a car can be such a stressful experience, but TrueCar is changing car buying forever. TrueCar actually helps car buyers get rid of the fear that they might overpay, and that fear is the worst. Last month, over 45,000 cars were sold by the TrueCar Certified Dealer Network, and TrueCar.com users save an average of $3,046 off MSRP. So, when you're ready to buy a car, you just gotta follow these 3 easy steps that if you want to save money. First, go to TrueCar.com and find out what other people paid for the car you're looking for. Then, register at TrueCar.com to see upfront pricing information, and then you lock in your savings. Third step, totally simple. All you do is you print out your TrueCar savings certificate, and then you take it to the TrueCar certified dealer for a better, hassle-free car buying experience. Who doesn't want that? Some features not available in all states, and every day, TrueCar.com users receive negotiation-free, guaranteed savings. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Why would you do that? Visit TrueCar.com today. That's TrueCar.com.